the early years of Middle-earth, Durin, the father of the dwarves, carved a home for his people from the rock of the Misty Mountains. This was to become Khazad-Dum, the greatest of the dwarf holds in all of Middle-earth, and it boasted the dwarves' greatest treasure hoard. The veins of the mountains flowed with mithril, the precious metal used to forge great weapons, armor, and other items of immense value, which cemented the hold's power and influence further. As the years went by, time was not kind to the sons of Durin. The dwarves delved deep into the roots of the earth, carving out cities and tunnels from the bones of the mountain. Evil was drawn to these dark places, always seeking to plant a foothold in Middle-earth. All manner of foul creatures sought to claim the mountains for their own. Hordes of goblins and trolls swarmed the mighty hold, making the kingdom of Khazad-Dum into a place embroiled in war. However, the dwarves of the Misty Mountains were not so easily defeated, for the dwarves are a hardy race of stalwart and fierce fighters. Every dwarf is trained in the art of war, forming themselves into kin bands to train those who lack experience. It is within these kin bands that grizzled veterans and battle-scarred warriors train sons, cousins, and other family members in the dwarven methods of waging war. Every dwarf will fight with the utmost ferocity to defend their kin and to protect their home. If one kin band helps another upon the battlefield, they will form a bond as strong as the armor that protects the dwarves in war, and one that will last for untold battles. Commanding the armies of Khazad-Dum were the dwarven kings of old, great warriors and noble lords that led the dwarves through many years of prosperity. At the peak of Khazad-Dum's glory, the kingdom was ruled by Durin, the greatest dwarf warrior of his time, and the one who was worthy of being named after the father of the dwarves. Under his rule, the great wealth of the dwarves swelled as they dug ever deeper into the heart of the mountains. However, with such constant expansion of their kingdom, the dwarves awoke something in the darkness, a beast of terrible power, a monster of shadow and flame. This was to be the undoing of the kingdom of Khazad-Dum, for the dwarves had awoken a Balrog of Morgoth, a demon of the ancient world. It was this creature that proved to be the downfall of the dwarves, sweeping aside their armies and slaying the mighty King Durin. Although the kingdom had fallen, its legacy is one that would be remembered throughout the ages. Yet it would forever be known by a different name: the Black Pit of Moria. Hello ladies and gentlemen, my name's Wraith, and today I'm going to be doing a review on the Kingdom of Khazad-Dum. I hope you enjoyed the background to this faction, but it's quite well known, so I hope you enjoyed it either way. If you liked it, do let me know in the comments, and I'll do it for the future ones, and even redo the ones I've already done, if people enjoyed it that much. I quite enjoyed recording it. So, the Kingdom of Khazad-Dum. This is a faction that I have been playing. I absolutely love it. Basically, we'll go over the army bonus, each of the units quickly, and then I'm going to give kind of like a couple of tips on how to play it, as well as how competitive I think they are. So this is perfect for newer players to the game. And we've got some lovely visual references from Tabletop Simulator. So there we go. So the army bonus, let's start with this first of all, is a fantastic one, a really strong one, where friendly dwarf models with either the Khazad-Dum or Moria keyword may reroll failed wound rolls of 1 when fighting in close combat. That is fantastic. You do not need to faint, you get it for free. You've got poison for free. It's so good. I love it, and it has come in clutch quite a few times. So, the first profile we're going to look at is going to be, of course, my boy Durin, King of Khazad-Dum. He's 160 points, Hero of Legend. He comes with Heroic Strike, Defense and Challenge, so he's got two of my favourites being Strike and Defense. He is Movement 5, as all Dwarves are, that's the last time I'm going to say it. He has Strength 4, Fight 6, 4 plus shoot value, Defense 9, which is phenomenal. 3 attacks, 3 wounds, Courage 6. He is 3 Might, 3 Will, 1 Fate, and he's got the Ring of Durin, Axe of Durin, or Durin's Axe, the Crown of Kings, and the Horn of Kizigil. Okay, there you go. I probably butchered that, but there we go. Durin's Axe. You get, it's a Masterforged two-handed axe, so you don't take the -1 penalty for two-handing it. So you basically burly at strength 4, which is fantastic. And you get to reroll a single dice when making a dual roll, so you're always kind of in range of a banner. But on top of that, if you are in range of a banner as well, you get to reroll 2 of your dice. Very nice. And then we've got the Ring of Durin. Once per game, you can reroll a single priority roll. And the Crown of Kings gives you a 6+ shrug. So if you roll a 6 each time you take a wound, you shrug it as if a point of fate had been spent. And then the Horn is a war horn, so everyone's getting +1 courage, including himself, bumping him up to courage 7, and gives him the terror special rule. He is also fearless, and one fantastic thing about Durin is you can upgrade any Khazad-Guard in its warband for 2 extra points to become hearthguard, and they get the burly special rule. Very, very strong. We have got Mardin, 75 points for a Hero of Fortitude. He is Fight 5, 4 plus shoot value, Strength 4, Defense 7, which is fantastic, 2 attacks, 2 wounds, Courage 5, 3 Might, 1 Will, 1 Fate. He's got Dwarf Armor and Torazul, which is a Foe Spear with Trollbane special rule. So you get D3 wounds when attacking, wounding trolls. So if you wound a troll, you do D3 wounds rather than 1, which is phenomenal against a troll. And he also gets +1 to wound when wounding against monsters. So strength 4 +1 to wound is fantastic. He also comes with heroic strength in case you really want to poke a big hole in that monster. And he's also Swarm Protector Durin. So he's not taking any courage tests whilst Durin is alive. Fantastic. Then we got Floy Stonehand, 75 points for a Hero of Fortitude. He is Fight 4, 4 plus shoot value, Strength 4, Defense 6, 2 attacks, 2 wounds, Courage 5, 1 Might, 3 Will, 1 Fate. The only other named hero you can include in this list, if you have Floy, is Balin the Dwarf, King of Moria. Okay? So, he comes with heavy dwarf armor and a staff. He is Lawmaster. This is fantastic ability. Absolutely phenomenal. He can spend a point of will to negate an enemy's active or passive rule or the effects of a piece of war gear, with the exception of the 1 ring, until the end of the turn. There is no range for this ability, but he must have line of sight in order to use it. So you can go up to Boromir's banner and switch off all of its effects, which is kind of really good for 1 point of will. You can also get rid of, there's so many things you can get rid of. It's absolutely crazy. You can get rid of the Balrog's heroic combat. You can get rid of Aragorn's lightsabers, 4 plus the wound. Always, the sky's the limit with this boy, as long as you don't want to try and turn off the 1 ring. On top of that, he's only got 3 will. You may be thinking, well, he can get it back. If a friendly Moria dwarf model slays an enemy hero or monster model, he immediately covers a point of will spent early in the battle. And that's anywhere on the battlefield. There's no range to it. It's just if they kill something, he gets a point of will back. And you probably want to kill that thing anyway, so it's a win-win for you. Yay! So I like him a lot. Then we have the other daddy dwarf, Balin, the Dwarf King of Moria. 110 points for a Hero of Legend. He is Fight 6, Strength 4, Defense 8, 2 attacks, 2 wounds, Courage 6, 3 Might, 3 Will, 1 Fate. If you have him in your army, basically, it's a bit weird. You can only have Floy Stonehand from this list of named characters, as well as you can have Ori, the dwarf champion of Erebor, Oin, the dwarf, and you can have Gimli, son of Gloin. That's it. That's it. You are now no longer Kingdom of Khazad-Dum, because that fell. You are now the Kingdom of Moria. So you changed all the other units' keywords from Khazad-Dum to Moria, which is kind of nice. I like it. I like the rules a lot. I like this guy a lot. He comes with heavy dwarf armor and Durin's axe. Yes, he gets to keep the fantastic Master Forge, get a reroll for free axe. So that's always good. And he's still strength 4. He's only got 2 attacks, so he's not as killy, but he's still fantastic. On top of that, he's got Heroic Resolve, Heroic March, Strike and Defense. So he's got all 3 of my favourites, March, Strike and Defense, making him a very good hero. He's Longbeard. In the priority phase, he can spend a point of will to enable his side to re-roll their d6 in the priority roll, which is very clutch. I love it. I mean, yeah, if you get a weird situation where you both roll a 1 and your opponent will get it because you've just gone or something, you can then spend a point of will and go, nope, I'll re-roll that, and then re-roll it into a 1. So he still gets to go first and you lose a point of will. No, I'm only joking. It is pretty clutch, but that can happen, so be warned, be warned. I love him. I think he's fantastic. It's your choice. Durin or him. I like Hearthguard a lot, but Balin is extremely competitive as well with his big boy Floy Stonehand. Here we have the Dwarf King for 75 points for a hero of Fortitude. It sets me he's the same tier as a captain. I think he'd be a hero of Valor. Actually, I think he's a hero of Valor now. He's been FAQ'd. Fantastic. There you go. Okay. He is Fight 6, which is fantastic. Okay. Strength 4. He's got 4+ shoot value as well. So, yeah. He's Defense 8. 2 attacks, 2 wounds, Courage 6, 2 might, 2 will, 1 fate. So he's a little bit better than the captain, which is fantastic. He's heavy dwarf armor and an axe. He's got Heroic Resolve and Heroic March. Awesome. March is very, very important in this list. He comes with the options of throwing axes for 5 points or two-handed axe for 5 points. I always go for throwing axes on everything. Plus the model has a two-handed axe, so it's up to you if you want a two-handed axe, but I bring enough Hearthguard for the +1 to wound shenanigans. Yeah, very top, very top. I like him a lot. Now we have the Dwarf Captain for 60 points. He is a hero of Fortitude as well. He is obviously Fight 5, as you'd expect. 4+ shoot value, Strength 4, Defense 7. 2 attacks, 2 wounds, Courage 5. And he's got 2 might, 1 will, 1 fate because he's a captain. He's got dwarf armor and an axe, and comes with Heroic March. Again, very important. You can give him, for 5 points for each of these, a shield to make him to Defense 8, which is awesome. Throwing axes or two-handed axe. In my opinion, if you're going to buy anything, buy throwing axes and a shield. Or just a shield. Defense 8 is fantastic. Captains are captains. Always useful, always bring. Here we have the King's Champion. He's 140 points and he comes with 2 Heralds as well, which is fantastic. But we'll focus on the King's Champion first. He is Fight 6, which is fantastic. 4+ shoot value, Strength 5, which is ridiculous. Defense 7, 3 attacks, 2 wounds, and Courage 5. He's got 2 might, 1 will, 1 fate. Very, very good profile. Okay. He's got heavy dwarf armor and 2 axes. He comes with Heroic Strike, fantastic, and Heroic Strength, in case Strength 5 is not enough. The King's Champion will always be the warband leader, and the Heralds count as independent heroes. Cool, they just take 2 slots. Now, he's got special rules. The Herald's Duty. When 2 Heralds, or the King's Champion and a Herald, are in base contact, they receive a +1 bonus to their defense. If both Heralds and the King's Champion are in base contact with each other, they receive a +2 bonus to their defense. That's fantastic. So you've gone from Defense 7 to Defense 8 to Defense 9 on this guy. So you're killy, and you can take a hit. Heralds. So Heralds are okay. They are Fight 4, 4+ shoot value, Strength 4, Defense 7 on their own as well. So everyone's going to be Defense 9 if they're all together. 1 attack, 1 wound, Courage 4. They've got no might, 1 will, and 2 fate. So giving them a bit of defense from being switched off with magic or just taking a random shot. They come with dwarf armor, shield, axe, and a banner. That's right. They've got banners. They've got the Herald Duty rule, of course, the Lifeguard. If the King's Champion is wounded, either Herald may expend their own fate point on the King's Champion's behalf. So basically, if the King's Champion gets wounded, you can spend one of the Herald's fate points, as long as they're in base contact. But they don't take the wound for the King's Champion. The King's Champion will still take the wound. But that's insane. So instead of having a 1 fate, really, if you keep them all together, he's got 5 fate. So there you go. He's defense 9 with 5 fate and 2 wounds. Think of it like that. Pretty strong. And as said, they've got banners. So that is, for 140 points, you've got a very solid hero and a very tanky hero, as well as 2 very tough banners. And they don't need to stick together. A very common strategy is to spread them out, because you're bringing them for the banners and the King's Champion runs off and heroic strikes and kills stuff in combat, because he's got 3 attacks and strength 5. Here we have the Shield Bearer for 60 points. He is a minor hero. He is a fight 5, 4+ shoot value, strength 4, defense 8, 2 attacks, 2 wounds, courage 4 hero with 1 might, 0 will, and 0 fate. So beware magic. He comes with dwarf armor, shield, and an axe. In defense of the king is his special rule. At the start of the game, nominate a single dwarf hero model with the highest heroic tier for the shield bearer to protect. If the nominated hero model is engaged in a fight within 3 inches of the shield bearer may call a heroic combat without using might. That's very nice. If the heroic combat is successful, they must use the following move to join their nominated hero model's combat. If this is not possible, then the shield bearer must move as close as possible to the hero model. If you have more than 1 shield bearer, they may both protect different heroes. Just remember to make it clear to your opponent which shield bearer is protecting which hero. So that's kind of cool. You get free hero combat, so you get more killing power basically. If you play it right in placement, it's really good. Lead by example. Friendly dwarf models within 12 inches of a shield bearer may reroll failed courage tests. So if you've got Durin and this guy, they're courage 5 dwarves, re-rolling. So there you go. Not gonna lie, I've never run him in a competitive scenario, actually at all. But let me know if you have and what kind of luck you've had with him. I'd love to know. Here we have the warriors of Khazad-Dum now. So this is the humble dwarf warrior. He's 8 points. Pretty expensive. He's got movement 5, of course. He's fight 4, which is fantastic, 4+ shoot value. Only strength 3, so he's not an Iron Hills dwarf or a Khazad-Dum or anything. He's defense 6, 1 attack, 1 wound, courage 4. He's got dwarf armor and an axe. Options: for 30 points you can give him a warhorn, 25 a banner, 1 point a dwarf bow, which is a 18-inch strength 3 bow, a shield, which is very, very good. Give him a shield, defense 7, shielding, stuff like that. Or swap axe for a 2-handed axe plus a dagger. You can if you want, but I mean, you might as well go hearthguard at that point. You're 9 points, you spend like a couple more points for a hearthguard. Or Khazad-Dum, sorry. Yep, standard troop, pretty solid. Are they overpriced? Well, with a shield, they're saving point as a naked elf, so I think they're pretty good. I think they're pretty good for what they are. They're tough as nails, so yeah. Here we have the Khazad-Dum, 11 points for this guy, which is so cheap in my opinion for what they can do. They are fight 4, 4+ shoot value, not that you care about shooting. Strength 4, fantastic, yes. Defense 7 on this guy. 1 attack, 1 wound, courage 4. They come with heavy dwarf armor and 2-handed axe and a normal axe, so you don't even need to use his 2-handed axe if you don't want to. If you're fighting things like goblins, there's no point sometimes. And they've got bodyguard, so they don't care about terror, courage, breaking, anything. They don't care. Obviously, you've got the option, if you bring Durin, to have these boys in his warband, give them an extra 2-point upgrade each, and give them the Burly special rule. Then you always 2-hand. You just go and kill everything. It's nuts. These guys are so good. But arguably not as good as the next option. Iron Guard, of course. 15 points for these guys, and they're nuts. They're fight 4, 4 plus shoot value, strength 4, defense 6, 2 attacks, 1 wound, courage 4. Defense 6 is still good, still really, really strong. That is like top for most other factions. On top of that, they've got 2 attacks, which is nuts. Dwarves need 2 attacks. These are very, very important because, as you can tell, I mean, you'll tell very shortly, if not, we have very, 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 very limited amount of spears. In fact, there's only 1 unit, which is very expensive, that comes with spears. So 2 attacks anywhere at fight 4, strength 4 is fantastic. On top of that, they come with throwing axes. And they've got a sword. So yeah, they come with a sword. So there you go. Just so you know. Fantastic. I love these guys. They're fantastic. They kill everything. Now we have the Mighty Dwarf Ranger for 8 points, okay? So, here's where we start losing some defense. They are fight 4, 3 plus shoot value. That's right, 3 plus shooting dwarf. Their strength 3, defense 5. Oh, so low. Defense 5 is not great, but it's still pretty good for a ranger. Okay. Then they've got 1 attack, 1 wound, courage 4. They come with armor and an axe. But here's where they kind of get good. You can give them a dwarf longbow. Okay, so they can start shooting things, which is what you kind of want them to do. Or if you don't want them to do that, you can give them throwing axes. That's right, this is what these guys are great for. Throwing axes galore. I love throwing weapons, they're so good, and they kill a lot of stuff. And we've got 2-handed axes as an option as well. They're all 1 point upgrades, and they've got Mountain Dweller. Not that that ever really comes up, but it might, you never know. Yeah, these guys are really good to keep behind your line to threaten the enemy at a range as they're coming forward. A dwarf longbow is a 24-inch bow. So, there you go. Enjoy that. Here we have the Vault Warden team. They're 25 points, right? Which is not as bad as when you think about it, because you're getting 2 models. Okay? And they're pretty nuts. I absolutely adore this unit. Okay, and this is the only way of getting spears into the faction, really, without going nuts with alliances and stuff. Okay, so you've got the Iron Shield Bearer up front with the guy with the massive, like, tombstone. He is fight 4, 4 plus shoot value, strength 4, defense 9. Yeah, that's right, they're defense 9. That's nuts. 1 attack, 1 wound, courage 4. They all move 5, even though he's got a massive blooming shield. He's got heavy dwarf armor, axe, and the Iron Shield. The Iron Shield has a special passive rule. A model armed with an Iron Shield cannot be barged or hurled, and it's unaffected by the rend brutal power attacks. These guys love fighting monsters, and I love using them against monsters. They make Ents cry. They do. But yeah, defense 9 is redonkulous. They make trolls cry because you also get the faux spear fella. So we'll go over the special rule again for the guy with a shield, because there's one downside. Unless supported by a model with a faux spear, they apply a -1 penalty to dual rolls, even when shielding. So there you go. Now, the faux spear. He is almost the same, apart from his defense is obviously going to be lower because he's not holding a whopping great shield. He is fight 4, 4 plus shoot value, strength 4, defense 6, 1 attack, 1 wound, courage 4. He's got dwarf armor and a faux spear. Faux spear. This spear, that when supporting a model with an iron shield, receives a bonus of +1 when rolling to wound a monster. Okay, that's pretty good. So you want to be supporting your shield dudes, but you don't have to. You can run them off and start supporting Durin or something like that, but you won't get the +1 to wound against monsters. And the last unit, the Mighty Dwarf Ballista for 60 points. Yeah, it's pretty much what you expect. It's a Dwarf Ballista, so it is strength 9, defense 10 with 3 wounds, okay? It comes with a dwarf, 2 dwarf warriors with heavy armor and axes. One of the crew is automatically a siege veteran. All crew members have the dwarf Khazad-Dum infantry and warrior keyword. So there you go. That's not bad. That's not bad. They're basically the same as normal warriors, apart from their defense 6. And they've got dwarf armor and axe. You can spend 60 points to have a dwarf engineer captain. So yeah, I mean 60 points for an extra point of might and captain stats is a siege engine. Like if just keep a couple of dwarf warriors nearby to defend it. Like 60 points is ridiculous. Yeah. Anyway, flaming ammunition for 15 points. I mean, rerolling once a wound shell, cool. And additional crew for 8 points each. You can do that if you want. It's got piercing shot as its special rule. If a shot from a dwarf ballista hits a battlefield target, so a normal enemy model, then they will suffer 1 strength 9 hit. Additionally, if the target has the strength of 5 or lower, they will be knocked prone and flung d6 directly away from the ballista. Any models the target passes over will also be knocked prone and suffer 1 strength 6 hit. If the target comes into contact with a piece of impassable terrain or model with strength 6 or higher, then it will immediately stop and be knocked prone. Both target and obstacle or model, if it has defense value, will suffer a strength 6 hit. And the draw is accurate, so it only scatters 3 inches rather than 6. Very nice. This is okay. Siege engines are a bit temperamental. They are a more psychological tool than actually doing damage, because you're probably not going to hit much, because it hits on 4s and then you've got to... Oops, sorry. You hit on 4s and then you've got to scatter. So, and you're probably going to scatter unless you roll a 6 on the scatter chart. Otherwise your opponent's going to pick like some random dude and you might kill a dude. But then again, you might roll like a 1 or a 2 and just not kill him. Yeah, it's your choice. But on the flip side, as I said, it's a psychological tool. You'll find a lot of people deploy very differently if you bring one of these bad boys out. And it has the potential of one-shotting like monsters and stuff. So, yeah, that could scare some people. But I played a game once where I brought this, and I brought some normal dwarf warriors with bows, and my dwarf bowman did more damage than this. So that should put some perspective on how temperamental they can be, how random. So there you go. So that's a quick overview of all the units in the army. Khazad-Dum are, I'd say, quite a little bit of a tricky force to play because you're slow. So we'll quickly go over the pros. The pros of playing Khazad-Dum is you've got a very high defense durable army. You've got high fight value in the sense of heroes are relatively high and all your basic warriors are fight 4 minimum, which is fantastic. You have access to great shooting in the form of dwarf bows, dwarf longbows, and lots of thrown axes, which are fantastic, as well as having great killing power in the form of either Khazad-Guard, hearthguard, or just two-handed axes. And you've got a army-wide reroll 1s to wound in combat. So they're a very killy force, and a lot of access to strength 4 as well. They're really solid. I like them a lot. Okay, the downsides: no cavalry. It's a big downside. Let's be honest. You have a very severe lack of mobility. What you do have though is heroic march to help you with that. So instead of being 5 inches, you can move 8 inches around, and you are going to need it. The keys to winning with Kingdom of Khazad-Dum / Kingdom of Moria is heroic march. You need it to get your army moving, because movement 5 doesn't sound slow, but it is very slow. When after you move a few turns, you'll be able to tell. You're going to also be quite elite as well, because your dwarves are expensive, being 8 points like for a naked warrior, and you still want to take some of the special stuff as well. And your heroes aren't exactly very cheap, so you're going to have to get used to kind of like some of the basic battle line tactics that I explained in other videos, keeping somewhat of a shield wall together, so a line of defense when you're getting attacked by the enemy. You don't want to be getting enveloped, so countering enemy cavalry is very key, and your deployment, so not giving them gaps to slip round behind you. And you're going to want banners. Banners are extremely important because you don't have spear supports. You've got a 2-attack warrior model, which is fantastic, and you have foe spears, but that's it. Yeah, so banners are extremely important for this force. I personally love to run this army with Durin and hearthguard, because where I lack mobility, I make up for in toughness and killing power. Once I get to the objective with my captain's heroic marches, I am then going to be taking down the enemy when I'm in combat with them. So fantastic. So as a demo of a competitive list, I have found one ran by Alistair King. Alistair King is very well known for being very good with the Kingdom of Khazad-Dum. So I thought it would be very good to get his insight, kind of get a look on the list that he was running. This is a relatively old list, 2019, but I really like it because it's absolutely hilariously killy. So what do we have? We have Durin. He is the leader and he's leading a full war band of hearthguard. Yeah, very, very scary. Next to him we've got Mardin, and he has got 4 Vault Warden teams, bringing in the defense. And then we've got the King's Champion with his 2 Heralds with 3 Dwarf Warriors bow and 1 Dwarf Warrior with shield. Very, very respectable force. It's obviously leading towards to absolute decimate the people in combat. And it's also bringing 2 banners. So that's very good. We've got the toughness from the Vault Warden teams, and we have got some ranged pressure from the 3 Dwarf Warriors with bow. It's only 18-inch range though. Okay. The only downside I see to this list is there's no heroic march, which hurts my soul. So it's up to you. In my opinion, and I'm no master of Khazad-Dum, but I'm doing my best, I would have dropped Mardin for possibly a dwarf captain with shield or something like that, or even a dwarf king. So 75 points for Mardin. Dwarf king is also 75 points. Yeah, it's up to you, but you can have a dwarf captain with a shield for 5 points, bringing him to 65, a thrown axe for 70, and you've got 5 points spare. But that actually is 10 points spare because it's listed 5 points under, so you could bring an extra dwarf warrior perhaps. But yeah, that's the only thing I can say about it. I really like it, and it's got a respectable model count. That being 35 models, so yeah, not bad for dwarves, not bad at all. But yeah, you can completely pick how to run these guys. They're pretty solid. There's no real massive down units, like I wouldn't say never bring. The only ones that spring to mind is maybe a shield bearer. I'd rather take a captain over a shield bearer for an extra 5 points, or to give him a shield. But yeah, everything else is fantastic in this list. Like the whole army. I love Khazad-Dum, and how would I rate them competitively? I would say they are competitive in the right hands. Definitely, more than definitely, they can win events. Anyway, if you think I missed anything, do let me know in the comment section down below. Or if you just want to chat about Khazad-Dum or the Kingdom of Moria, same thing applies. On top of that, if you did like the video, do consider liking, and if you're feeling especially saintly today, do consider subscribing. But even if you don't do either of those things, I still hope you have an absolutely fantastic day, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.